Hi, I'm your host, Jackie Borowski, and I'm here with Tana Frederick and Matt Marcy, and we are going to discuss Sylvia the Play and oh so many other things.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Hi guys, I'm Jackie Borowski. I'm here with Tana Frederick and Matt Marcy, who are in a play in Los Angeles called Sylvia that is about a dog.
Yes, it is. And this is our post-show music. So if you come to this show, you'll be able to give us a wonderful standing ovation for the brilliant work that we do in it.
I always love music for a standing ovation. It really helps.
It pumps it up.
Yeah, it pumps you up.
Yeah. Because most people are in tears by this point, and I won't tell you why, because that would be a buzzkill. But
I know. I did cry. It was like happy and sad tears.
Yeah,
you
no,
know?
it is, and
it's not like you're not gonna like Marley and Me tears. Let's just say that.
No, I couldn't even watch that. No, I couldn't watch that. After doing the show like 3 times, like this is my 3rd time, but like after watching this or after playing a dog twice, I was like, no, there will be no Marley and Me.
You're in that mindset already.
No, I'm not. No, I will be devastated. It'll be worse than, Avatar.
So let me, before we go any further, I just want to tell you guys, rate, comment, subscribe to us on AfterBuzz TV. I also want to give a short plug to Broadway Breakdown, which is our sister podcast that Brianna and I host, and we do a lot of theater discussions. The Twitter handle is @BroadwayBdown. We couldn't get the whole thing, but it is what it is. But
I like the B down. The B down's like, what?
Down.
It sounds so cool. It makes theater sound really cool.
It's on the Popcorn Talk Network. You guys, your Twitter handles are Facebook?
My Twitter handle is Matthew_Marcy. Facebook is Matthew Marcy, like Facebook / Matthew Marcy. I had an Instagram. It was deleted, so I'm kind of like just upset about that. I have no idea what happened. They have no idea what happened.
You know
so I'm just
what
kind of
happened.
over Instagram. No, I have no idea.
I don't believe him whatsoever. I think he totally knows what happened, and there's a backstory to this.
My friends started texting me like, "What happened to all your stuff? Why is Instagram asking me to add you again?" And I was like, "I don't know what you're talking about." And I looked, and there was nothing. So I'm over it.
That's what happens when you do sketch comedy in LA.
Yeah.
You do contentious material, and they are like erase.
So you guys did Second City, the TMI Hollywood for Second City. Is that just tape sketch comedy or is it live?
Well, TMI Hollywood is something that started up at the Second City back in 2000. I want to say 2012.
Wow. Second City is in Chicago, by the way.
It started in Chicago. It has roots out into Hollywood. A lot of great teachers from Chicago work there. I encourage anybody who's interested in comedy to check it out. They have $20 drop-in classes. It's wonderful. We started there, and then we moved on to Acme because they have a wonderful setup for camera work and stuff like that. But it's a lot of sketch comedy. It's very much like Saturday Night Live with a special guest and musical guest, and we incorporate it much like TMZ with TMZ stories and stuff like that. So it's very Hollywood based, and we just make fun of all the stuff that goes on in the week.
Except it's called TMI instead of TMZ, which is very catchy. And so I got invited to be a host there, and that was my dream my whole life because, I mean, as you know, a 6-year-old, 7-year-old, 8-year-old, like I grew up watching, probably inappropriately, but Nick at Night. The only like naughty shows I could get away with watching was the old Second City shows with wasn't Lorraine Newman on that at one point before she switched over to Saturday Night Live? I don't know, but Eugene Levy and all of the brilliant people, all the old 70s and 60s. Was it in the 60s? Whatever. But that was my inspiration. So to be able to host this show and have them this whole cast just embrace you. And I'd never done sketch comedy. I mean, I've done a lot of improvisation in Henry Jaglam's films, but never actually done sketch comedy. And just to have all these people just be like, I got your back, I got your back. Like that's literally what they say before you go on. And
awesome.
yeah, it's so awesome. And they're like, you're out, girl, get out. Come on, here's your props, here's your, go. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful place and a beautiful like founding ground for finding yourself as an artist and branching out and trying something that completely terrifies you.
Yeah, TMI will
do you think sketch comedy is more terrifying or improv?
Improv is terrifying on its own on its own merits, just because you have to work with people on stage and
not know what's coming
and
next.
move it forward, not know what's coming next. If you're working on stage with people that you know, it's a lot easier actually. But sketch comedy, it's getting a color buck and trying to color within the lines of it. Improvising when it's appropriate, but not going to the point where you're just giving the writer a middle finger. But yeah, no. If anybody's free, Sunday nights at 8 o'clock, I encourage anybody to go to the Acme at La Brea. Go to www.tmihollywood.com for more info. And
do you guys have a favorite sketch you did, or a favorite sketch you were involved in?
There was a sketch where Tana had to come in as a fitness instructor.
That was my favorite.
That was pretty fun.
It was really sick. Really sick and wrong. I was supposed to be a Lamaze CrossFit trainer, teacher. And so
Wait, Lamaze and CrossFit together?
yeah. And
Oh,
it just so happened I was playing in theater, doing Train to Zakopane at the Edgemar Center for the Arts. And so at the time, to sort of counterbalance being an anti-Semite, I was running marathons. I ran 2.5 marathons, which within 2 months, just because of the stress of the role.
Right.
I would get up at 3, run the marathons, and be like, okay, I'm gonna do the show now because I can now handle it emotionally. And so they wrote this great sketch, and I had asked Peter or Aurelio if I could. I was like, I want to play the CrossFit instructor, and of course, being at that time, when you run a lot of marathons, you get a little ripped. So I was like, I am 9 months pregnant. Can't you tell? Get off your ass. Get up. And just took a spin on this character. And it was really, really fun. And one of the best, theatrical experiences I've actually had, and I've been doing that since I was 9. So
the crazy show. The writers are amazing.
Amazing, and the actors are amazing, and they're all like, you got this, you go.
Does sketch comedy and improv prepare you for theater, theater that you've done? Maybe even Sylvia, because I know your role is very physical in that play. You play the dog. Spoiler alert.
What? What? I don't want to see it anymore. I'm over it.
No, I'm method. I'm method. I'm an actor.
Why don't you just give away the Sixth Sense? I'm over it.
No, I mean, wow. Well, it certainly freed me to actually be able to direct the third. Like I said, this is the third iteration of our show. We started out in Sierra Madre. People loved it. We moved it to the Edgemar in Santa Monica, ran for 11 months there, and then finally I plugged for the rights, because it was no matter what show I did, even if I did The Rainmaker, which got critically acclaimed, it's we're talking about N. Richard Nash and
right.
But I received so many great laurels for that. But no matter what, I would come
People wanna
out
see you be a
and
dog.
people people were like, but when are you playing the dog? Because we so loved that. Oh my God, my sister's dog is just like your dog was. And I was like, okay, I just played Lizzie in The Rainmaker. Okay, well, I better do the dog again. So finally, after they did it on Broadway and I was able to get the rights, I chomped or bit at the opportunity, no pun intended, to do it out here and do it at the Odyssey, because it's one of the most gorgeous spaces I've ever wanted to work
the
in.
Odyssey.
Yeah.
For those of you that live in LA, the Odyssey, I would consider it West LA. It's like Pico, Sepulveda.
It's like West Central LA, just very borderline. Beverly Hills, borderline above. Yeah, it's borderline everything, but it is like West Central. I think we consider.
And for those of you who love Mark J. Freeman, who hosts another show with me, actually, he works there at the Odyssey.
Yeah, Mark is amazing.
If you want to go see him and the play
Love
at the same
Mark.
time,
right?
And you want to see Mark's hair? His hair is
perfection.
amazing.
It's perfection.
It's
He
just
works really
perfection.
hard on his hair.
We notice coiffures, us dogs.
But you know what touched me about this play? It's so funny that you say people like want you to play this role, and I also think that, you know, a lot of people have pets. Dogs speak to a lot, like the role of a dog speaks to a lot of people. And then the play itself is, it's like funny and moving and touching. And sometimes I think in times like now where we had this very tense political election,
Absolutely.
I think having a moment where everybody can just come together and laugh and enjoy that moment, it must be something people really want.
Yeah, I mean, I really love that you brought that up, because I really try to pick specific, like curate the shows that I'm doing to sort of I mean, I was also a political science major in college, and I try to pick shows that I think will balance off kind of the socioeconomic and the socio-political landscape. And right now we've been going through so much, and let's just not talk about like the election at all, even a little bit. But, you know, people need escapism right now, and I've chosen pieces that are more contentious at certain times, and I've chosen pieces that are more of not escapism, but just like, wow, I'm just gonna appreciate like going home and after seeing this show and like petting my dog, and I'm gonna appreciate the fact that like I just want to be petted, and I just want to like pee, and I just want to get fed. And those are the three basics in life. And as long as I can be loved in that, you know, those three basics, then life is good.
It's so simple, and it's something that we can all relate to.
Exactly.
And I think that's what, when I was reading the play, I was like, oh, I see this, why not only did I enjoy reading it, but I see why this gets such mass appeal, because it can touch so many people.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, there's a certain amount of puppy Prozac to this play that people leave with, even though it is a heavier play, and it reminds you of like, oh, what brings people together? What is the foundation of... You know, because it's a dog. It's like the dog's not trying to play games. It just wants to be loved, and it's about this couple. And
and you play multiple roles in this play. How do you handle that? Because I know some of the roles, without giving too much away, you're not playing just the male gender.
No, I'm not. No.
Another spoiler surprise.
Yeah, no. In TMI, with I mean, I get. When I do TMI, I do like 5 or 6 different characters a week, and somehow I'll get that script on a Friday night and perform it on Sunday. So that show really helped me out in order to prepare for this. I had a lot more time. I was able to, you know, like really dive into the characters instead of just making, you know, a generic broad stroke. Thank you. Assumptions of what these characters would be. I actually got to, you know, work on the finer details, and it's insane. A.R. Gurney, he really touched at a good point with this play that human beings, like, they just cast their knees out into the world because life is just so, like he says it himself, is so like shapeless and absurd. You know, that we cast our needs onto the world to create some sort of shape. You know, because we need that sense of shape, and that's particularly why one person is playing 3 different characters, is because it's to get the audience to, oh, I see that person, I'm casting that need. You know, you even see the main characters cast their needs onto this one actor, you know, in these different roles, and it's just one more layer of depth that A.R. Gurney brings to the table, because that's what we do with animals in general. We just cast our needs onto them. You know, we come downstairs, oh, my puppy, you're not looking so happy today. Are you depressed? And he's like, no, that's my resting face, you asshole.
I live in an apartment, so I don't have a dog, but I have a bunny, which is a strange pet.
Oh, no, I had a bunny.
Oh,
I had a bunny.
really?
Yes, I called him Christopher Rabbit. He was great.
Aww. My bunny's name is Vince, because I picked human names for my
Vince is
animals.
cool.
Of course. There's a whole conversation about this in the play when you come see it, like where he talks about naming your dog doggy names or human names.
I took the middle road and went with a pun. So I just
But I mean, there are times where you like the animal doesn't have to do much to give you so much joy, and that's what this play meant to me as a person who's owned many pets in my lifetime. I saw that. I was like, oh, this animal just wants to be there and give you joy, and you do this like amount of work to take care of it, but at the same time, it's like it's giving you so much more than you're really gonna give it.
Right.
Yeah.
And the general response I get from people that see it is that, one, I wasn't expecting it to be a dog. Like, and the first, it took me like, they usually say, it takes me a couple seconds to like, okay, she's a dog, okay. And then once they get into that, they just like, they fall in love with it because it's so easy to cast Tana, who plays Sylvia, as the dog that they had, you know, or the dog that they grew up with, whether it was their dog or their best friend's dog, who they just happened to spend a lot of time with, you know. They some people have, can relate. Everybody's going to be able to relate to it just based off of that alone.
And I think the other amazing thing to me is like I don't know how your costumes are in this particular show, but at least when you look at the costumes from the other show, it's very simplistic. You're not like
I picked every costume. It's not like
Nana and
specific.
Peter Pan, right? Where you're like wearing a dog suit. It's a person in an
Hell
outfit.
no.
Yeah, it's a person in an outfit.
Yeah,
And
it's not like Wilfred. It's definitely like
No. Yeah, it was actually like a sweater that my mom got me from Madewell for Christmas. No, nothing against Madewell, but I was like, ooh, Mom.
You were like, ooh, that is
Usually
going for the
you
dog
get really
costume.
great stuff. What am I gonna do with this? And then I just pulled it out and I was like, oh, this is Sylvia. And so yeah, everything is everything is just throws caution to the wind and kind of gives the audience their glory of representing, deciding who is this dog? Who is this dog to them? Who was this dog in their life? And in the end, it actually is the show that I've done that's affected people more than any other show that I have done out in Los Angeles, and any other show that I've gotten like plaudits for. Like, it's just because people have such a great relationship with their pets, and because and also I think that I changed a tiny little bit. Two things actually. Matthew's wonderful to work with. First, I have to say, like, he has blown this show like out of the water. People don't know that he's playing 3 different characters. They have no idea. And he has made choices, and I love choices. He has made choices where people don't actually know that he's playing this sort of butch kind of New Jersey type dog owner. Then he goes to playing this beautiful woman who like is very convincing. We did a lot of table work so that it wouldn't be glib. I didn't want anything to be glib in this. Not the dog, not any of the characters. I wanted this to be very, very solidified in reality, because that's the best kind of comedy, when you're like, whoa, hey, it's like Ted. Like,
yeah,
there's no BS here. This is like very rooted in something, in an emotion that translates to something in life. And so Matthew was like, I think we really need this scene in that I had actually cut. We had cut out before with a previous director, and he plays the scene brilliantly. And now it's actually one of my favorite scenes in the entire show, where he plays an androgynous therapist.
That's one of my favorite scenes in reading it too.
Wow!
Yeah.
too.
Wow!
Yeah.
And we cut that out before because we just couldn't figure out how to make that work. However, now it's like when you work with actors who are as amazing as the cast that I have, and like Matthew, then he was just like, you know what, Tana, I really think we need to put this back in, because this is kind of the key to the entire show. And now people say it's their favorite scene.
It's interesting because it's like what you were saying earlier. It's like the character actually says something to the effect of like, you put your projections
onto the world.
onto the world.
You project yourself.
And so you're right. Like that little scene is like a theme for the
ties
play.
the whole play
Yeah.
together. And he has this wonderful analytical sense of the script and of material and how to break it down. down, which I feel so lucky to work with. And then the other change that I made is at the end, usually A.R. Gurney had originally written that you show the dog's face. And you show, like, when they say Sylvia died and she turned it into more of a dog. Mm-hmm. And that's a spoiler, but nonetheless, I mean, most people have heard of this play or read this play. But I took that out because what happens is people come out after the show, I found, when we went from the first show to the second show without showing the picture of the dog. And actually, like, we're like, look, you played my dog. And they all send me pictures of their dogs.
Aww.
And women and men together are like, oh, my husband's, this is how he treats his dog.
Right.
Look at her. She is the princess. Nobody, but with love, you know, with like, oh, she brought us together because that's what this is about. This is about like bringing people together. And so just leaving that to people's own version of I'm going to translate it this way, that really makes a huge difference.
And no lines were cut either, like in the process of it. It's really, because they still show the photo, but it's just such a tiny photo that, like, you know, it's kind of
you make
silhouetted.
Up your own.
It's silhouetted from where you can see even in the first row. So it adds to that suspension of like, okay, I can totally see that being my dog, or that's definitely my dog.
And I love that the dog is played by a person, not like a Nana and Peter Pan dog.
Right, yeah.
because people do personify their own pets. Mm-hmm. Like, you in your head you have, or maybe it's just me, you have like voices for your pets.
No, it's not just you. It's not just you. Everybody sends these to me on Facebook, and I place, and they're like, see, this is Sylvia, right? And I'm like, yes, that is. Like, every single one of you who send me a picture, that's Sylvia. Like, she is all-encompassing, and I love that about the show, is that everybody can grasp a certain notion of who Sylvia is to them.
Yeah, and to go back to your earlier question of like, or statement of how you like that Sylvia's wearing actual clothing and not, you know, I think that adds just like a whole nother layer of personifying Sylvia, you know, and like you said, and I think that's just such an important thing to do, and there's a whole other, you know, dimension of like, you know, the Wilfred aspect of actually having a human in a dog costume,
right,
which is great on its own, but I think to reach a wider audience of people remembering what it was like to have that first experience with like another creature, you know, and that depth of a bond, it's going to make it much more easier for them to relate.
Exactly, and just counting on human intelligence and people who go to theater to be like the suspension of disbelief of, okay, you're in a sweater and you're in brown corduroys, and you're chewing on a couch. I can get that you're a dog. You don't need ears. You don't need to be in a suit. It's cool. I got it. I got it.
It's so funny because I feel like, and I mean, I like film for what it is on a different level, but it's so, one of the most beautiful things about theater to me is that you can trust theater audiences to suspend their disbelief. You can put in the bare bones things, and as long as the actors are doing their work, you have that scene. Mm-hmm. You have created that moment. You don't need to be like, well, this is the best dog costume that you've ever seen on a person.
Right. My tail actually is mechanical and wags, and I got it from New York.
Yeah, theater and cartoons are the only two forms of entertainment that get away with that. That's just that extension of suspension of disbelief.
Yeah, which is why I love it.
And it's the same thing with like playing multiple characters. You know, there are so many plays that I love where people in the script, it calls for you playing multiple characters. Mm-hmm. So there's that other level too. As long as the actor's doing their job, you don't even remember like that, and maybe somewhere in the back of your mind you're like, oh yeah, that person played that, and you know, but you don't care.
Right. It's the beautiful thing about theater. It's like I have so many audience members come up to me and be like, oh my god, because in now in film there's CGI, there's green screen, there's augmented reality, there's virtual reality, there's so on and so forth, but people will actually come up to me and say, oh my God, I had no idea that was the same guy playing a woman. And then when he went into the costume of the androgynous I had no idea. And it's like this whole childhood thing of like let's like put on a show and let's just be astounded by going to the circus and seeing what happens, you know? And that's just a lovely natural effect that luckily our generation still has, or people who, you know, millennials on the verge of like, on the cusp of not really having that as an experience in you know, a Proustian experience in their life. But like as far as the rest of the audiences, they still love that sort of, let's put on a show, let's put on a, you know, let's see what we can do with this, and let's be blown away by like the smoke and mirrors.
Now you told me you're doing a VR narrative.
Yes, I have done a virtual reality narrative with director Randall Kleiser, produced it. It's called Defrost, and we have a great cast of characters: Harry Hamlin, Carl Weathers, Bruce Davison, Chris Atkins, and we went to Sundance with it last year, and that's a whole nother, like, it was really fun though, because I've had so much theater experience. So filming was actually, we filmed on the Nokia Ozo, and filming was actually like filming Theater in the Round in reverse. And there's lots of gamers, there's lots of great experiences that you can have, but the interesting thing was how much training, theatrical training, all of our actors had, and how that parlayed into us making it in, like with a pilot episode, into Sundance and all across like festivals in the world, and how interesting that is, you know, and how interesting, like how we must keep the fundamentals of theater and how we must keep that alive, because no matter what you do in life, that's still the basis of so many things. I mean, if you look back in history, that is going to be, those are our roots.
Especially with something like VR, though, I would think that it would immensely help to have theater training, because if you're acting in a VR space, you are like right there in that person's face and your whole body is there. It's not like pick and choose, it's the person picking and choosing, just like it is with theater.
Especially, yeah, exactly, and especially with sort of the rudimentary materials that we were working with. 2 years ago when we created the whole project, it's like we didn't have, you know, we didn't have a spatial volume, or, you know, we just had, we had cameras, and then we just had to stack ourselves. Like all of us ended up like not stacking ourselves in a sort of way that would block each other. And we were like, when somebody's not talking, we're not going to talk. So, or when we're not supposed to be talking, we need this plot point to be heard. So we've done plenty of theater. So we're just not we're gonna pretend like we talk, you know, like that's what we get hired for as actors. That's what we got a college degree for. So it's you know, it's very like rudimentary, and it's a lot more simpler than it seems.
So you said you got into this though to kind of get women interested in the VR field, because right now it's a very male dominated area. Yeah, and I'm really happy to be traveling around, and not only women but artists. Like there's a whole contingent of theater students who are taking VR cameras. I remember after one panel that I did, this girl came up to me and she's like, so I just did, you know, a show in, I think it was some theater in Santa Monica, the Electric Lodge or something like that. And she said, so it's all finished. And I said, what do you mean it's all finished? She said, I stitched the entire thing myself. I filmed it. It's all completed. And I was like, you what? You mean you have a complete, I mean, if you know what goes into VR and the rotoscoping, the stitching, the fixing the glitches, the, you know, the denoising, everything. And to have like theater students integrating, or theater performers integrating this into showing like a 360 experience is beyond comprehension, but so cool. It just shows you that like the basic levels of art still stand on their own.
It might even put theater back on the map.
I know, you know, it's so interesting because we all think Hamilton putting theater back on the map or put theater back on the map. But I found, especially after doing the Broadway Breakdown podcast, people tune in just for Hamilton. It's not necessarily like they're tuning in for
they love the story.
theater. They love that story.
The story. You know, I'm talking about reaching audiences that, one, can't afford the $300 tickets to go, or $150 tickets, or even the $100 tickets to go see one show. And I'm also talking to the people who, you know, just watch it on YouTube.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's not the same experience. I'd say it's about 1/10 of the experience at most. If you've seen the show and then you watch it on YouTube, it's about 3/10 the experience. But like, still, you don't get that experience. And with VR, it offers this opportunity to where you could be in the
You're in the
house.
room.
You can be in the house
Yeah.
with everybody else, and it could be a much cheaper ticket.
That's one of the things I personally love about theater, because growing up, I can't sing for crap, so I was always involved in non-singing, non-musical theater. And that always, or typically, comes with a component when you get to the more avant-garde stuff, it's audience interaction. And to me, that was the most fun, to have somebody come out and interact with you, or for you to be able to interact with them, or for you to have a moment with someone in the audience.
Right.
Yeah, it's a real give-take experience. You depend on the audience, and they depend on you, and you're really, like, the older that I'm getting, the more I realize, like, you don't exist without the audience. You don't exist without giving them your full heart and your full experience, and letting them feel the full experience. And so it's just a beautiful medium, and I don't think that LA is given enough credit for what shows that we have here and what opportunities we have here.
We have a lot of great spaces.
There is a huge
theater.
underground network of comedy like that. Is just it's starting to bleed out into other different places, not just, you know, what you consider the norms of underground comedy, and which isn't even really underground, like Second City or IO West or Groundlings is actually or UCB, and it's actually moving over, you know, to different venues, new places, you know, just little corner stores that, you know, turn into comedy clubs at night. It's just and it's slowly blowing up. It's
Do you have a favorite space that you could recommend for visitors to LA or people who live here?
It starts with a C. I'm losing my train of thought of them too, because they're just all over the place.
It's okay,
It's
we
like
can
a
tweet it
Well,
out
no, but
later.
Matthew, I do have to again throw kudos at Matthew
Clubhouse.
because
Sorry.
Clubhouse.
There you go. Clubhouse.
He also has done. He instigated this. What is it? The camping.
Oh yeah.
It's
I'm
great.
doing I started a comedy festival with my friend Garrett Mendes and Blake Schneiderly, and it's basically just, you know, your typical festival, but like kind of like a Coachella or anything like that, but it's just comedy.
I love that.
It's out and it's out in the woods, and there's 3, you know, main stages, like for sketch comedy, we have improv, you know, and then we have stand up, and it's amazing. And you get to camp there. It's a one-night event. We're trying to grow it. It was in Santa Clarita, but we can't be there anymore because, like, for obvious reasons, like there was a huge fire.
There was a huge fire.
And the event is called Big Fire, so.
So you're
Big
like,
Fire didn't cause it though.
No,
Big
we
Fire
didn't
did
cause
not
it.
cause
We
it.
did not cause it.
No. But but you know, to anybody who understands film festivals or putting together some sort of event like this, like you have to pull permits, you have
a
to
lot of
get
work.
like it's
Yeah.
a huge amount of work, and so I love the fact that he's out there doing and his partners are out there doing pulling together things like that, like being activists and saying, look, here is a venue without a 2-drink minimum, you know, that you can come and you can hang and you can experience art for like just a couple of, you know.
I love that too.
Yeah.
And it's so random, but just talking about the 2-drink minimum, because that always gets me, because I would really rather not drink and watch comedy, because then I feel like I get it better, because by the time I'm drinking, I'm like,
Right. Yeah, it's kind of hard to like say, hey, friend, can you come to my show? Sure, yeah, I'd love to support you. What time is it? It's 12 in the morning. It's 12 in the morning. All right. Yeah, I guess I can do that. It's a 2-drink minimum. Okay. I don't really drink, but they have $5 waters.
Right.
All right, I guess I could do that, and there's valet. Okay, so usually it just becomes like this circle jerk of people, of comedians performing in front of other comedians, and sometimes you come up with gold, but unfortunately the only people that get to see it are people who are on deck.
You're competitors. I mean, more or less, you're competitors. So like, you just want to show the love, you know.
Yeah.
So
I love this idea. I love this
I think
idea.
it's brilliant.
Yeah, so it's something that, you know, people who left their states, you know, left their hometown to come do the comedy thing, to actually, like, you know, shove in their parents or their loved ones' faces and say, "See, I'm doing something that starts at 7.
You don't have to come at midnight.
Yeah.
Prime time, baby. Prime time.
And you get to meet a lot of great. It's a great networking place, and that's really what I think what we want to do is we want to make fun of festivals while at the same time create a network for people to come, laugh, and basically it's a comedy circle jerk out in the woods. If anybody,
I'm down.
And we're looking for a new space. And we're looking for a new space. Santa Clarita is no more, unfortunately. So
You guys have a space. Give it to us.
Yeah.
Matthew, Marcy.
BigFireComedyFestival.com. We are looking for a space.
We only have a few minutes left, and I think tying it back to Sylvia, I was just wondering what do you guys do to prep for the role? And this is a two-part question. And what's your favorite part about playing your roles?
Matthew.
I like to try to go through the script through my head just to make sure I'm not missing any jokes or dropping anything like that. Get me refreshed. Then I just kind of relax and be calm and try to stay focused on what's going to happen. My favorite parts about the show, about my characters, is that they're so vastly different yet so connected at the same time. Especially the first two characters. Like I play the husband's best friend at the park. I play the wife's best friend from college. You know, and then I play like this therapist that is so grounded yet so odd from looking at it. But you know, this character is so grounded that it really shows that the other two characters have a lot more problems than they're willing to admit. And I just love being able to find the depths in each and every one of them, and I've had a lot of fun doing it.
That's wonderful.
And you should see him though backstage. Basically,
Just
every time, like
That's all I
have like
time for.
20 different costume changes, and he has a lot as well. But pretty much our makeup artist
is amazing. She's amazing.
Yeah, and Aid Gutierrez, so pretty much every time I come backstage, Matthew's like this, just getting his makeup done for one of the different characters, and it's like he's Jesus Christ. I'm like, wow, that's amazing. For me, it's just this character is one of the favorite roles that I've ever had. It just allows me to be a child again and to feel the freedom of just getting back to, hey, why am I doing this? Why did I move the hell away from Iowa? Oh, it's because I love to make people happy, and I love to like belong, and I love to like make people laugh, and I love to like do something where people can laugh and cry at the same time. And that's, I mean, as trite as that sounds, it makes me incredibly emotional every time I say it. And this show just is that. It encompasses all of that for me. So, yeah,
So come see it, damn it.
Aww. So at the Odyssey Theater, you guys got an extension?
Yeah, we are. We are
So-
extending, yes.
So you guys will be playing through December?
As of now, we have it all the way through December 18th.
Yeah.
And we're looking for an
18th, and
extension.
then we're going to be extending into January and February, of course, around the holiday times when it's really fun to see.
So
dogs running
check
around.
out the Odyssey website, and you can get information on there. And then you said you had a film in theaters as well.
Yes, Ovation. It's a great cast. It's showing at the Laemmle Theaters right now. It's playing in New York. It's also in Laemmle Theaters in Los Angeles. We were lucky enough for a little film to get raves in both the LA Times and New York Times, which was pretty badass because it's really hard to
it's
get
really
good
tough out
reviews
there.
if you're under like $1 million budget. So rock on. And for anybody, of course, who's with AfterBuzz, we would love to offer a $10 discount on tickets. So please call up and just say, buzz me. I don't know. Like,
wait, for
what's
Sylvia
a cool
or for,
Sylvia.
For Sylvia.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
just call up the Odyssey and say you want a discount, and that
That's wonderful.
yeah,
I love it.
and that it's your fault, of course, for bringing us on the show.
Wonderful. And Mark will take care of you.
Yes, and Mark will definitely, with his hair, take care of you with his fabulous hair.
I love it. So, guys, tell me where the people can find you again on your various social media platforms.
You can find me on Twitter, Matthew_Marcy, and
But not on Instagram.
But not on Instagram, guys. I'll get back to it eventually. And on Facebook /Matthew Marcy. But if you want to catch me on other shows, catch me at TMIHollywood.com. It's at La Brea Hollywood at the Acme, and you can also catch me at the Big Fire Comedy Festival. Yeah.
And I'll
Which
be
needs
the
a
little
location.
on Sideshow. I'm Sideshow Bob on his websites, so you can find us.
Perfect.
Yeah, you'll hunt me down
Ton of
somewhere.
Frederick.
Yeah.
And I'm 123 Jackie B on all platforms. Thank you guys for watching us today.
Pause. Thank you. Pause.
My hand just exploded.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.